in a 9th century Norwegian forge, smoky and permeated with the pungent scent of charcoal. There's an off-putting odor. This stench of decomposing animal manure, however, is a sign of advanced metallurgy. The Viking Age, spanning from 793 to 1066 CE, marked a period of Scandinavian expansion reaching North America, the Mediterranean, and deep into Russia. Vikings left their mark on history with their raids and discoveries. Behind their formidable reputation lay advanced metalworking techniques unparalleled in the medieval world. They were not merely barbarians forging primitive weapons, but masters who understood chemistry long before its formal recognition. Modern knowledge of Viking metallurgy is based on archaeological data, reconstructed forges, and chemical analysis of preserved artifacts. Excavations at Anorvik Habibi and numerous rural settlements reveal astonishing facts about medieval metalworking. One such discovery is the so-called organic flux mystery. When analyzing Viking Age forge sites, archaeologists found high concentrations of phosphorus compounds in slag heaps, which are not typical of iron ore. These compounds originated from animal waste, intentionally added during the smelting process. Studies of medieval sources and experimental archaeology explain why Vikings used what is now considered waste. Animal manure, especially from cattle and horses, contains chemical compounds that, when heated to forge temperatures, act as fluxing agents. The organic matter burns away, leaving behind alkaline compounds that help remove impurities from the iron ore. Experimental archaeological work by Dr. Lee Solder in his Virginia Forge has shown that adding dried animal waste when smelting bog iron can increase iron yield by 15–20%. Vikings arrived at this discovery through trial and error, long before understanding the underlying chemical processes. However, beyond manure, archaeological evidence from forge sites across Scandinavia indicates the Vikings used a whole arsenal of organic materials in metalworking. Bone fragments are consistently found in slag deposits, indicating their deliberate use. When heated, bone releases calcium phosphate compounds, crucial for creating chemical conditions that promote the formation of high-quality steel. 13th century sources mention smiths using human hair and crushed eggshells. While these accounts require careful interpretation, experimental reproductions have shown that many organic additives indeed have a noticeable effect on metal properties. The most common organic additive was charcoal dust, mixed with animal fat. Smiths applied this carbon-enriched paste to iron surfaces before heating. This process, known as carburization, allowed Vikings to create steel edges on iron cores, producing weapons that combined flexibility and sharpness. The true mastery of Viking metallurgy is evident in their pattern-welded blades. These blades were not only decorative, but also demonstrated a profound understanding of how varying carbon content affects steel properties. Archaeological analysis of preserved swords shows that Vikings created composite blades using multiple types of steel. They welded strips of high-carbon steel for the cutting edge to low-carbon iron for a flexible core. Organic additives played a crucial role in this process. During pattern welding, smiths used organic compounds to control carbon migration between different steel types. Animal fat, applied at specific temperatures, created a reducing atmosphere, preventing undesirable carbon loss. Bone ash, sprinkled onto the metal during heating, helped maintain the chemical gradients necessary to create these composite blades. The serpentine patterns adorning pattern-welded blades are a result of precise manipulation of carbon content using organic materials. Each curve and fold required exact control of temperature and the timing of organic additive application. The use of organic waste in metalworking was not only a technical innovation, but also an economic necessity. High-quality iron ore was a valuable resource, often acquired from distant locations. Bog iron, abundant in Scandinavia, yielded lower quality metal requiring significant processing to make it useful. Analysis of later medieval account books shows that smiths' services were costly. A single sword, could be worth several heads of cattle. Any technique that improved yield or quality directly impacted profitability. Vikings developed their organic flux methods to maximize the value of available resources. Instead of discarding animal waste, they discovered its use could enhance metalworking outcomes. This was not desperation, but sophisticated resource management. The systematic nature of this practice is confirmed by archaeological findings in settlements. Forge sites consistently show evidence of deliberate waste collection and processing. Storage areas contain prepared organic materials, suggesting smiths maintained year-round supplies of these additives. Organic additives were used year-round, forming an integral part of the Viking metallurgical process. The cultural integration of Viking organic metallurgy is particularly interesting, as it deeply permeated their culture. Blacksmithing was not limited to a simple craft, but was inextricably linked with mythology and the social structure of society. In Norse mythology, the god Wayland appears as a skilled master craftsman, and archaeological evidence indicates that Viking smiths held a similar position in society. They were not mere laborers, but specialists whose knowledge was carefully guarded and highly valued. Due to their high status, smiths could make certain demands regarding materials and working conditions. The use of organic additives required smiths not only precise timing, but also refined skills that took years to master. Apprentices were taught not only metal forging, but also the preparation and application of a multitude of organic compounds. The integration of organic metallurgy into Viking culture extended beyond mere technical procedures. Norse sagas describe magical swords forged using unusual ingredients. While these are mythological accounts, they likely reflect real practices. The idea that special materials were required to create powerful weapons appears repeatedly in their literature. Archaeological evidence of Viking organic metallurgy has been found in various sources. Excavations at Jorvik have revealed forge areas with characteristic chemical traces indicating the regular use of organic fluxes. Similar data has been obtained from sites across Scandinavia. Analysis of preserved Viking Age weaponry has uncovered microscopic evidence of organic compound usage. Scanning electron microscopy has revealed characteristic inclusion structures that correspond to experimental work using traditional organic additives. These materials were not used incidentally by the Vikings, but as part of standard practice. The most compelling evidence comes from bog iron extraction sites, where clear signs of organic material processing were found alongside iron smelting. Large quantities of animal bone fragments, ash deposits, and organic residues are consistently present at these sites. Dendrochronological dating of charcoal found at these locations confirms the timeline aligns with the Viking settlement period. Chemical analysis of slag deposits has revealed specific phosphorus and calcium traces associated with organic flux use. Modern experimental archaeology has allowed for a detailed study of the methods Viking smiths used with organic materials. The process demanded meticulous temperature control and precise timing, indicating a deep understanding of metallurgy. Smiths prepared organic additives by drying and grinding animal waste into powder. Different animal wastes yielded various chemical effects. Cattle manure created an alkaline environment, while pig waste released other phosphorus compounds. During smelting, these powders were added at specific temperatures. Adding them too early caused the organic matter to burn off without effect, while adding them too late meant chemical reactions wouldn't have time to improve the iron. Mastering the correct timing required years of experience. When forging blades, smiths applied organic pastes to specific areas of the metal. Carbon and animal fats penetrated the iron surface, creating localized steel formation. By controlling where and how much organic material was applied, Vikings could create composite blades with varying properties along their length. The complexity of this process explains the high value of Viking weapons. Crafting a pattern-welded sword required not only forging skill, but also a profound grasp of organic chemistry. Smiths who mastered these techniques were engaged in sophisticated materials science. Modern materials science confirms the discoveries made by Viking smiths through experimentation. X-ray diffraction analysis of preserved weapons has revealed specific crystalline structures created by the use of organic flux. Spectroscopic analysis has detected trace elements that could only have come from organic additives. This is not accidental contamination, but patterns indicating deliberate use. The distribution of phosphorus, calcium, and other organically derived elements points to targeted application. Chemical analysis of various blade sections has revealed carbon gradients that made Viking swords both flexible and sharp. These gradients were created using techniques requiring organic materials to control carbon migration during forging. Science confirms what archaeology suggested. Vikings used organic materials as sophisticated fluxes and carbon sources, achieving metallurgical results that would not be formally understood for centuries. The global panorama of the Viking Age presents a fascinating picture of technological achievements, with organic metallurgy holding a special place. While the use of organic materials in metallurgy was not unique to Viking culture, their systematic and innovative approach to it is admirable. Other medieval societies also employed similar methods, but rarely did they achieve the same degree of integration and sophistication as the Scandinavians. For instance, in contemporary Islamic metallurgy, organic substances were used, but primarily for decorative purposes. Chinese smiths of that era followed different steel production methods, relying less on organic additives. The uniqueness of Viking methods lay in their ability to adapt to local resources and conditions. They developed technological processes that allowed for the most effective use of bog iron and organic waste, which were abundant in their environment. This regional adaptation explains the renowned Viking weaponry achieved throughout medieval Europe. They did not resort to exotic materials or secret technologies, but skillfully utilized available local resources through complex processing. The legacy of Viking organic metallurgy significantly influenced European blacksmithing for centuries to come. Archaeological findings indicate the spread of similar practices across medieval Europe during and after the Viking Age. Knowledge was passed down through generations via the guild system, which developed in later medieval times. Master smiths continued to apply organic additives, though perhaps not always fully understanding the underlying chemical processes. Some of these technologies survived until the dawn of the industrial era. In rural areas, traditional smiths continued to use organic fluxes until coal smelting eventually supplanted them. The sophistication of Viking metallurgy forces a re-evaluation of established notions about medieval technologies. They were not merely primitive artisans, but skilled materials engineers, adept at working with the resources available to them. Understanding this chapter of history shows that technological innovations often arise from necessity and the ability to adapt to local conditions. Vikings transformed waste into advanced technology through meticulous observation and experimentation. Their legacy reminds us that cutting-edge technology doesn't always require exotic materials or complex equipment. Sometimes the most impressive innovations come from finding new and sophisticated ways to use what's at hand. Vikings didn't just turn waste into weapons, they created an entire technological system that maximized their resources and produced the tools that shaped the medieval world.